Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And a special welcome to our listeners on love101.org and if you're overseas and on the move. US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, police stop and search and the law of the land. In the second watch, front of package labeling and the right to know campaign. For our social media question, we ask, how helpful to you is the nutritional information on food packaging? Do you understand it? Please share your responses on our Facebook page, Love 101 FM, and also on WhatsApp, 876-997-3125, using the hashtag, The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's I quote.
This one is I quote, take care of your body. It's the only place you live in. Jim Rohn.
Serious thing. Good morning, Shavani.
Good morning, Rev. How are you?
I'm doing okay, my brother. And you?
Good, thank you.
I have a little quiz for you,
All right.
Little quiz.
Uh-huh.
Do you know which school motto is Fervet Opus in Campus?
You mean them people who won on Saturday?
We might tell people. We're talking about the Jamaica College.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes, man.
Oh.
And I don't know if I heard you big up JC and Edwin Allen as yet.
I did yesterday.
Oh, you did when?
I did yesterday.
This morning.
Oh, again?
Congrats to Jamaica College and Edwin Allen.
Indeed. And congrats to KC too. They came second,
Yes, and there's a pale blue school.
Yeah.
A pale blue school. You know about that school? Did not come in the top 3 at all. I say no more. The first watch will be back after this break.
Squeeze the flavor.
Squeeze icy.
Squeeze out the juice drink, my favorite fruit drink. I'm only choosing what makes me tune in. That squeeze, yeah, buckle or box please. Yeah, popular on street, yeah, apple or a peach.
Wow.
Squeeze on the real stinger with the lunch or your dinner. What a punch it up in abundance for the winner. That squeeze, the buckle of them away. That limeade, we're rocking that in the shade. I make your pants for me. Go ramp with me. Come on for me. I'm a love for me. Like my strawberry. I'm a huckleberry. Let's go. Release the flavor. Let's go. Release the flavor.
How do our millennials view Christianity today? Is it relevant, worth their time and interest? What is Christianity doing for them? Young adults are leaving the church in droves. Join host Pastor Harris Steve Blair and guests Casey Garvey and Errol Bean as they discuss millennial Christianity during The Rock, Tuesday, May 18 at 10 a.m. right here on Love 101, the family station.
Bashko time. All the things that you need for your home. The price is so low, you will never need a loan at Bashko. Really at Bashko. Shopping. Appliances, house with furniture and rugs. Eastside linens and glass and mugs at Bashko. You're shopping at Bashko. Whether the north or so in the east and the west, Bashko. Them all over, they must be the best at Bashko. At Bashko. You're shopping at Bashko. At Bashko. Giving you more.
Tropical race 4 disease, TR4, is a soil-borne disease that has the potential to wipe out the Jamaican banana and plantain crops. Farmers and visitors must disinfect shoes and tools before entering farms daily. If your banana or plantain crops seem to be wilting, call the Banana Board at 876-922-5490 or 876-922-4327. Jamaica Banana Board, Green Gold, Life Health and the Environment.
The world has changed drastically. Are you ready to face it? The University of the West Indies, the Caribbean's #1 university, can get you ready. Because while everyone else is trying to adapt, we are ready to prepare you for what lies ahead. So secure your future by investing in yourself and make your dreams the next big thing with a degree from the UWI Mona. Apply today at mona.uwi.edu.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, on May 6, 2020, the Gleaner made mention of a first quarterly report by Indicom, which expressed concerns about stop and search exercises that were carried out by the JCF in an arbitrary manner. Well, to discuss this controversial and complex issue, we have online Mr. Hugh Faulkner, Indicom Commissioner. Good morning, Mr. Faulkner.
Good morning, Dr. Toussaint, and good morning to your listeners.
Great. Good to have you, sir.
It's our pleasure.
Well, yeah, to set the record straight, what is the role and function of Indicom before we even go further in our discussion?
Right. Indicom is there as and if we look at the preamble, the words leading up to the Independent Commission of Investigations Act, we're there to look into the conduct of the security forces, where there are fatalities, where there are non-fatalities, where there are abuse of citizens, and what the Act terms as connected matters. So we are the oversight body with regard to actions of the security forces.
And the security forces include not just the JCF, but...
No, the security forces include the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the Jamaica Defense Force, and the Department of Correctional Services.
Great, great. Now, in the aforementioned article, mentioned in my preamble, it states that your organization recently turned the spotlight, quote unquote, on the issue of stop and search.
Yes.
Now, what precipitated or prompted that particular focus, Mr. Faulkner?
Well, to establish that in exercising our mandate, we look at the three primary law enforcement bodies. So, for example, last year, we looked at the Department of Corrections in our first 3 quarterly reports. The first report of last year, we looked at the mentally ill in the correctional centers, and from that came the Chambers matter. Mr. Chambers, Noel Chambers, had encountered poor treatment in custody and died. The second one, we look at the treatment of the care of inmates 60 years and over within the correctional facilities. And the third one, we look at the Rio Cobre juvenile facility, and we highlighted, the case of children who were placed in correctional facilities deemed uncontrollable. I'll give you that background, Dr. Toussaint, because to show that we do not, direct all our energies to any single law enforcement body, but it is spread around. So this year, so far, we are looking at the Jamaica Constabulary Force, because we had picked up in our complaints, the categories of complaints. Persons were indicating that they were being stopped and searched without legitimate reasons. And we also had picked up that arising from the stop and search, confrontations would emerge, and sometimes citizens end up being charged as a result of the stop and search. Our next quarterly report will be looking at assaults committed by the Jamaica Constabulary Force. So for this year, last year, as I indicated, we focused on the DCS. For our 3 reports, this year we'll be focusing on the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And so our interest in the matter stems from our findings from the complaints we receive. In addition, we had also done a survey.
Yeah. Now, in a nutshell, what does the Road Traffic Act state in terms of police stopping and searching vehicles?
Right. The Road Traffic Act, to be fair and to be accurate, gives the police constable, and when I say constable, that includes any rank, gives the police constable wide powers to stop and search motor vehicles. But the act is premised on the fact that the officer has reasonable suspicion of some unlawful conduct. The act does not empower the officer to just arbitrarily stop a citizen. And the 2013 rulings of Justice David Batts had highlighted that. So we are not challenging the powers. The legislature, the statute, which is a law coming out of Parliament, allows and permits the officers to exercise wide powers. If they believe a vehicle is conveying, stolen goods, they can stop the vehicle, they can search the vehicle. They can stop a vehicle if, for example, there are suspicions with regard to the proper authorization for the vehicle to be on the road or the driver being licensed, then they can stop the vehicle. But we are suggesting that in those instances, the power is to stop. The search itself must have a legitimate basis. So basically, that's the gist of our advocacy.
Let me just get you clear, Mr. Commissioner. The act you're saying, at least your understanding of it,
yes,
is that the JCF has the power to stop the vehicle.
Yes.
But not necessarily to search the vehicle.
Right. That is my. If, for example, if the basis for stopping the vehicle, Dr. Toussaint,
yes,
is, for example, that the vehicle is conveying illegal property, and there are several acts. If, for example, the suspicion is that the vehicle is conveying a firearm, then they can stop and search. They can stop. They can search driver. They can search passengers. They can search vehicle
without any summons, without any documentation.
Yes, without a warrant. Yes.
A warrant, right? No
yes.
Documentation. Just get
right.
and search.
Yes, once there's reasonable suspicion. So basically, that's the precondition, that there must be a lawful basis to stop. So remember, Dr. Toussaint, the Road Traffic Act is a law coming out of Parliament, which gives these powers. But there's a supreme law, which is called the Constitution. And the Constitution gives the citizen the freedom of movement. But that freedom of movement is not absolute. There are instances when the law states that there are legitimate reasons why you may be stopped. And the
I'm sorry, Commissioner. I'm going to take a break. Please hold that thought. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Jamaica Banana Board, Green Gold, Life Health, and the Environment. The time brought to you by the Jamaica Banana Board is
Flow is
7:15.
connecting Jamaica to fiber fast internet. Over 250 communities island-wide have received upgrades since last year, with many more to come. Flow is committed to giving more Jamaicans better internet access. And with over $40 billion invested, our network grows stronger each day. Visit a Flow store today or call 1-800-804-2994 to find out if you can upgrade to the fiber fast experience on Jamaica's largest network.
16 after 7 o'clock.
Entrepreneurs, now you've got more support in your corner. Introducing Sagicor Bank Business Resource Center, where entrepreneurs benefit from free training in business management, financial support and guidance from pros, as well as research capabilities. Sagicor Bank, in partnership with the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, brings you this first center of its kind for small entrepreneurs to develop and grow. Let's help you take your business to the next level of success. Contact Sagicor Bank Business Resource Center today. WhatsApp 876-997-3745.
Everyday living, we make it worthwhile. Real people, real value. Oh, what a style! From kitchen to bathroom, a whole heap of tile. Home and things for everyday living. Nice up your home, fix up every room. Shop every day, shop real value. Fixtures and faucets to catch your eye. We have the options, we have the style. Everyday living, so versatile. Real people, real value. Oh, what a style! Lowest price guarantee on everything you see. Home and things for everyday living.
Now more than ever, Protex reminds you to wash your hands. A 40-second hand wash with soap could help prevent COVID-19. Look for Protex at your nearest store.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and we are discussing the whole matter of police stop and search vis-a-vis the law of the land with the Indicom Commissioner, Mr. Hugh Faulkner. Mr. Faulkner, Commissioner?
Yes, right.
Yes,
Thank you,
before the
Dr.
break, you were explaining to us the whole matter of stopping and searching, the difference and the law in that regard.
Right. So I was explaining, just to put in context, that the Road Traffic Act gives the police wide powers to stop vehicles, etc. So impede your movement. For example, in regulating the orderly flow of traffic, etc. The Constabulary Force Act also, and that's section 19, also empowers the officer to stop, search persons, search property. So, a constable without a warrant may stop any vehicle suspected to be carrying stolen goods or prohibited drugs, and that it even includes gambling implements, etc., and may search the driver and passengers. So we are saying that the Stop and Search Acts, the statutes that come out of Parliament, have to be consistent with the Constitution, which gives the citizen freedom of movement. So the freedom of movement is within a context. It is not absolute. So for example, in a zone of special operation or a state of public emergency, the law enforcement personnel can stop and search the citizen without a warrant. Yeah. In these instances, the Constabulary Force Act, the Road Traffic Act, where the officer suspects some criminal conduct or lawful breach, then they can stop. So Justice Batts was emphasizing that the power is not arbitrary, where you just see a vehicle and say, I'm going to stop that vehicle. No, there ought to be a lawful reason.
But isn't there, Commissioner, the element of subjectivity in that? Because what somebody might regard as arbitrary may be in the police's mind lawful and justifiable. Well, she could argue that no, it was not an arbitrary stop. Yes. I really had a justifiable reason why I stopped. Or you bring that up in court? Or just want to argue that?
Well, the duty for the lawful conduct is on the officer. So the officer must be able to establish that his basis. So, for example, an officer at point B may get a call that there's a red vehicle coming, and it is believed that illegal firearms are in the
He
vehicle.
didn't receive that. So I'm sorry, Commissioner. What if he didn't receive that type of a call? But he
If he
actually
didn't-
saying that I just looked on this vehicle and the driver or the occupants therein, and I just suspect something. Because as you would know, that's how some of the policemen have been able to capture some criminals.
Yes. So that is bordering on baseless, Dr. Toussaint. If, for example, there are bulletins out and there are photographs and this person bears resemblance to the photograph that the officer has seen, but you can't just look at the people and the person and maybe the hairstyle or something and you just create a suspicion. That would be arbitrary.
Oh, okay. Well, what should persons do then if they feel that they were arbitrarily stopped by the police? What is the recourse?
Well, I believe that there is a duty on both sides. So the police, even in the instance where the police, they are acting under lawful suspicion, then I believe it is only reasonable that the interaction be polite and professional and explain to the person the basis for stopping him or her. Likewise, we also encourage the citizen to be civil and to be respectful. And I don't have any difficulty with protesting the search, etc. But if the search is carried out, etc., then a complaint can be lodged, and then you seek the legal remedies thereafter.
Yes, and can one argue that this is really sweet music to the ears of criminals in Jamaica?
Well, I've found, Dr. Toussaint, that in any environment where there is, significant criminal activity, that there are persons who are willing to suspend the rights of the citizens, but we are of the view that the rights of the citizens can travel unimpeded along with steps to remedy criminal activity. So I don't believe in a high crime society or community that the rights of persons have to be suspended for the fight against crime to continue. I think both things can be done. So the innocent citizen would not be unduly impeded.
Okay. If you're driving a vehicle, for example, you gave somebody a lift, and that person, the police, stopped and did their search, and that individual who you gave the lift has something unlawful on his person, what happens therefore?
Well, the practice, Dr. Toussaint, is if, for example, the person is, in possession of a firearm.
Yeah.
Usually, all the persons are charged and the matter placed before the gun court.
All the persons.
All the persons.
I innocently gave this person a lift, not knowing that this person had an illegal weapon.
Right. It is unlikely that the police will be the judge to determine whether there was a lift or you're just, removing yourself from the, incriminatory circumstances. So I think that determination they are likely to leave for the court to make. So, and especially if it's found on the seat, etc., the usual thing is for all the persons to be charged. And then your counsel at the bail hearing will explain to the court that you had no knowledge or you had no intent to be in breach of the law and apply for bail for you.
Yes. But you realize how unfair that can be to the person who, out of generosity gave that lift.
Yes. remember, Dr. Toussaint, sometimes these unjust situations arise. Somebody who you gave a lift, if you
Yeah.
drove negligently and crashed, that person could sue you.
Yes. Yes.
Which seems unfair because your foundation was kindness.
Yes.
But that kindness can backfire.
Yeah. And I gather that your report also dealt with the matter of entry and search of premises.
Yes.
What does the law
Yes.
state in that regard, Mr. Commissioner?
Right. Again, let me state many times in some of the court cases, the law indicate that a man's home, regardless how extravagant or how modest,
Castle.
is your castle.
Yeah.
Right. So the law frowns on the arbitrary entry and search of your premises. But the law finds its way to empower the security forces to carry out their work. And we accept that. That's necessary, for the maintenance of law and order. So again, the Zones of Special Operations Act speaks of what they call joint forces. So under the Zone of Special Operations, and this would be founded on the risk levels, etc., then the security forces may enter search without a warrant. Also under the state of emergency, that can be done. But the law,
barring that, they're going to need a warrant to enter.
Pardon me?
Barring that, those circumstances,
exactly.
they're going to need a warrant.
They need a warrant. The only exception I would give Dr. Toussaint is maybe a hot pursuit. So if the security forces were chasing a man and he ran into, right, then you would expect them to, abandon the search, go and get a warrant and come back. They would pursue the felon, in the context of hot pursuit. But the law indicates that a warrant ought to be obtained and that the citizen should be explain the reason for the search, the basis, etc., and give as much information as possible. And the law, even there's a case that even suggests that in some circumstances you might not want to reveal too much so that you do not prejudice the investigation. But again, so all those activities may be taken with lawful, protection of the law for the law enforcement officers.
Right. So as we wind down this segment, Mr. Commissioner, in regards to stop and search, entry and search, what if I'm faced with that circumstance and I refuse? I don't give permission for the police to stop and to search me actually and to enter my premises.
Well, my own view is that the law that the search may be for a legitimate reason, notwithstanding the protest. So, or for example, there may be significant legal reasons why a premises must be searched, and probably searched in a timely manner before any adverse consequence. And the law,
I refuse.
The law, so you may refuse, but the law empowers the law enforcement body to use reasonable force to enter the premises.
Oh,
right. So that against your will.
Yes, yes. So the gist of your report then was to highlight the law as it is,
yes,
the possible breaches, and the whole matter of it being justifiable and lawful as against being arbitrary. Correct, sir. So it is not any effort to impede the security forces in the execution of their lawful duties, but many times, sometimes some activities may target sometimes the least powerful within the society. And being the oversight body, we have to be that watchdog
for the person without, strong economic or political power, the person who is deceased at the hands of the actions of the security forces, whose voice is, is terminated for good, the mentally ill, the vulnerable. So we have to be the voice, without fear of favor on behalf of those persons.
Thanks for being that voice, Mr. Commissioner. Thanks for joining us this morning, and thanks for your service to the nation. Have a productive day.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Toussaint. Yes, and to your listeners.
Thank you. Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
JN Bank Live Online Banking is your quick and easy banking that's safe and secure. Sign up today. Visit jnbank.com. JN Bank will help you find a way. The time is
7:31.
Many of our brothers and sisters lose hope when diagnosed with HIV. Some lose their will to continue being a part of society. Others are despaired by the challenges of keeping up with their treatment. We understand. But remember, people with HIV live normal and progressive lives every day. You can too if you get back on track with your HIV treatment. Live for you, live for someone, live for something.
Get back on track, get back to life.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
We're working on a brighter day, you not have to fret. You know your family secure, you not need no stress. It's like you run a 5K, set the pace, win the race, celebrate, and you still never bust no sweat. We see we brother and we sister, this is how we heal them. Easy now, you and Guardian Life, it's a nation we're building. Many hearts, but we all want the same thing. Live secure and live easy.
Bills to pay and funds to transfer? No problem. I do it all on my time with JN Bank Live Online Banking. It's my simple and secure as that online banking.
Phone credit need a top up? No problem. I do it with JN Bank Live Online Banking.
It's quick and easy with just a few clicks. JN Bank Live Online Banking that goes where you go. Sign up today. Visit jnbank.com. JN Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's take a look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. In the Gleaner, unfair and unjust. Opposition senators react to Kamina over email claim. Interesting development there. And then Playing with Fire. Pranksters draining Hanover firefighters. Then we see here in the Gleaner, vaccinated persons urged to maintain COVID-19 protocols. And I gather that's in light of what is now happening in the United States of America with a new mandate. And then in the Observer, 5 months of tears. Mom seeks closure in case of missing son, wants even bones for burial. And then retired cops say government owes them 1.7 billion, that's with a B, in pension payment. And then finally in the Observer, Police Federation backs officers involved in Trafalgar Road shooting. Those are some of the major stories and headlines in the newspapers. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our Facebook and WhatsApp question. How helpful to you is the nutritional information on food packaging? Do you understand it? Please leave a comment on our Facebook page, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
Have some issues and concerns in your community that you wish could be attended to now? Want a platform to voice those concerns? This could be the place for you. Send your 30-second voice notes describing your issue to 876-997-3125. That's 876-997-3125. Be sure to type a voice for hope before sending the voice note. Then listen on Tuesday at 9:45 a.m. for a voice for hope. Share the concerns you have seen, You know that street light that has not been working for a long time, or your community has not had water for 2 weeks now? Yes, here is somewhere you can share it. And maybe, just maybe, we can get some love on your situation. Remember now, send a 30-second voice note describing your issue and type a voice for hope before sending your voice note to 876-997-3125. A voice for hope. It's a problem, and we need a solution now. Love 101 FM, the family station, bringing a voice to your situation.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. We're going to join Shivani for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. How helpful to you is the nutritional information on food packaging? Do you understand it? Shivani?
All right, a comment from Cherry says, for those of us in the medical field, we understand. There are some who understand and there are many who don't. They only know and understand what they are to eat and what not to eat. All right. I think that's all I'm seeing for now.
Okay, is that Cherry you said?
Yes, Cherry.
All right, thanks, Cherry, for responding. Great. Now, as we segue into the second watch, as many of you may know or may not know, 54% of the population, or roughly 1 in every 2 Jamaicans, is reportedly overweight or obese. And much of this is as a result of persons making unhealthy food choices. Now, according to the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, research shows that simple front of package warning labels have been most effective in discouraging unhealthy food choices. And to that end, the foundation has launched the Right to Know campaign in an effort to build support for the introduction of front of packaging labeling. Well, to discuss these and other related issues, we have joining us this morning Ms. Vonette Nurse, Advocacy Officer from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, and Ms. Philippa O'Connor, Senior Standards Officer from the Bureau of Standards, Jamaica. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Great.
Thanks
We're
for
happy
having
to
me.
have you both. Let me begin with you, Ms. Nurse. What really is front of package labeling about, and why is your organization so stridently advocating for it?
Okay, thank you for that question, Dr. Toussaint. Front of package labeling really is a warning label, a nutrition label on the front of the package that informs consumers about nutrients. The ones that are of concern, as you spoke about the issue of obesity and unhealthy eating, the ones that are of most concern are sodium, salt, added sugar, and unhealthy fats. So the front of package label will be a indication on the front of the package about these types of nutrients. And the front of the package, because it is the principal display panel, so it's the one that catches the attention of the consumer first, and it is the most visible part of the package. So we want that information there so that consumers can make informed choices. They can have something simple on the front of the package that informs them about these nutrients of concern, and then they can make those informed decisions for their families and themselves. It's also a concern for persons who have underlying conditions. So, persons with hypertension, diabetes, heart disease. Diet is an effective way to manage these conditions. So they would need to know on the front, on these food, the beverages and the food products packaged in particular that they're eating, they'd want to know how much of these nutrients are they're consuming. And some of these prepackaged foods are processed with high amounts of these nutrients. So all of these factors combined would be the reason that we are advocating so strongly for this information to be placed on the food package.
Well, all right. Ms. O'Connor, what are the present regulations or restrictions re the labeling of manufactured products in Jamaica?
Okay, thank you so much for that question, Mr. Toussaint. I hope I pronounced your surname correctly.
No, that's fine.
Currently, at the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, we currently have a standard for the labeling of prepackaged foods, and that's the JSCRS 5 standard for the labeling of prepackaged foods. So all manufacturers within the domestic sphere, and domestic meaning within Jamaica, they have to comply with the requirements of this standard. Now, currently in Jamaica, you will find in the supermarkets or wholesale that there are some products that have on a nutritional label, while there are some that do not. And the reason for that is that currently our current regulations does not prescribe a mandatory nutritional label. It applies to those companies who, so it's a choice right now. So there are some manufacturers who opt to put it on their labels, primarily for those larger companies who do export, because different markets overseas have a different market access requirement. We are now moving towards a mandatory nutritional labeling, and I use the terminology we, because the region is now moving towards that. In light of what has been happening globally with the incidences of NCDs, the CARICOM heads of government, they have met, and as an output of that discussion, we have two standards now that are currently on the table. The CRS5 that I alluded to earlier is currently being amended to include a front of package label, which Ms. Nurse made mention to earlier. And that standard is currently under discussion at the CARICOM level. The draft has not yet been finalized. And the region is also working on a nutritional labeling standard, which probably in another 2 to 3 years will be implemented by CARICOM member states to include Jamaica. And the intention is to then therefore make nutritional labeling mandatory. So that's currently where we are, where the different regulations are concerned regarding food labeling, nutritional labeling, and front of package labeling.
So when compared with other nations in the region, Mr. O'Connor, where does Jamaica stand?
What is the comparison in what context? Because currently in the region,
terms of the front of the regulations mandating that is put at the front.
Well, in comparison to the other member states, we're all on a level playing field, because every CARICOM member state currently, nutritional labeling is voluntary. And that's the reason why we're looking at this common approach to have a regional nutritional labeling standard that would ultimately be adopted by each CARICOM member state and then be enforced on a mandatory basis. So if it's in comparison to the other member states, we're all on a level playing field.
And you're saying that they're moving in the same direction that we in Jamaica seem to be moving in this regard?
That we are, correct. It's a regional discussion, and it's an output coming out of the regional meeting where the CARICOM heads of government are concerned. So each member state within CARICOM is on one accord with Jamaica regarding the discussions with nutritional labeling and the need for front of package labeling. The disparity has been, and this is really the contention has now arisen within the region and in Jamaica, where we're trying to decide on which one of the front of package label to include in the standard. Not to get a bit too technical, but currently the discussions in CARICOM, there's a octagonal design that has the information high in. So it would prescribe high in sugar, the critical nutrients that Ms. Nurse made mention earlier. So it would prescribe high in sugar or high in salt or high in fat based on either meeting or not meeting certain criteria. So that is the FOPL system that is currently presented in the draft standard for discussion. But within the region, there hasn't been any formal agreement just yet, because different member states are of different point of views regarding what they perceive to be the most suitable FOPL system to be used in the region. And so that's where we are now regarding the regional discussion to try to come to some form of agreement as to which front of package labeling system would best meet the needs of the region and achieve the ultimate goal, which is to increase the incidences of NCDs.
Okay, hold that thought, please. We're going to take a break and be right back.
Okay.
This is Love 101, the family station. It's now 7:45.
Peaches, Marky house they flood out, no? It look like it a kin Papa to you.
What? Marky, your house I go and see.
And me, man, bury the barometer. We still a build right up against the sea, down in a riverbed and Pan Gully side. This climate change thing now ramping up. Rain like trouble when it do fall. And the sea level rise up too. That spell flooding. Build where water no go. I just so smart and steady get
Visit PPCRJA on Facebook for more on climate change.
Labor Day, holiday this year that are the pre and a May 24 this year I know the 23. COVID there a road, yeah, it a lock down the place, so stay home, stay safe and clean up your space. Clean up the yard, you're not fi go nowhere. Turn out your yard that the hashtag a trend, yeah. Ready up, listen and follow me there. Me go so ropes.
99.9% of germs now a chance cause me use me sanitizer. Just work with it, incorporate and stay home late, but they cause the option they wiser. Lockdown cause the cases them a run up. Go on in the yard, go plant a tree and make it come up. Shade it a go give in the summer and a go burn up. We a plant up the tree so we environment a turn up.
Workers week in the mix too.
Yeah, here we
start palm me 17.
Week flurry.
Don't palm me 24.
Well, clearly.
Stay home, stay safe, get the message cheery.
99.9% of germs now.
This Labor Day, Monday, May 24. Stay home, stay safe, and clean up your space. A message from the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
There are a million reasons to want to own a home.
I want more space for the children.
I am tired of paying rent.
My wife and I want an investment.
Go from future plans to keys in hand with an NCB mortgage. Get rates as low as 6.95%, 100% financing, and up to 40 years to repay. Plus, get the life insurance and home insurance you need all in one place. Visit myhome.jncb.com to get started. Conditions apply.
It's refreshing, it's purified, it's cool. Shade, purified drinking water. Drink yours today. Shop number 9, Water Plaza, West Cumberland, Portmore, St. Catherine. Call us at 876-378-0654 and we deliver Shade purified drinking water. Shop number 9, Water Plaza, West Cumberland, Portmore, St. Catherine. Call us at 876-378-0654. It's cool. It's Shade purified drinking water. Get yours today and stay cool with Shade.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and we are discussing front of package labeling and the Right to Know campaign. We have online Ms. Philippa O'Connor, Senior Standards Officer from the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, and Ms. Vonetta Nurse, Advocacy Officer from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica. Ms. Nurse, still there?
Yes, I'm still here. I'm here with you.
Yes, right. There are those who may argue that they do not see the need for the label being on the front, as long as they can get the nutritional facts elsewhere on the product. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think that the current nutrition facts panel, Mr. O'Connor would have spoken to you about it. It's a table which is not mandatory. It's usually on the back of the package and it will give you nutrient information. Some food packages may have it, some may not. The issue with this particular nutrition facts panel is that it may be difficult to understand for some people. It requires some amount of calculation. For example, if the serving size of the container is more than 1 and you intend to consume the entire container, you'd have to multiply all of the nutrients by whatever the serving size, the total serving size is. Some people can do it, some people can't. And as I said, on the back of the package, The front panel is usually what catches the attention of the consumer the most.
Right.
Most consumers only spend a few minutes in the supermarket, for example. I mean, if you have other things to do, if you have quite a few things to buy, you wouldn't spend more than a few seconds picking up a product. And you want something quick and easy, and easy to understand, easy to interpret. On the front of the package, as soon as you look at it, you're able to see those nutrients of concern and make those decisions quickly and accurately for your family and for yourself. So I mean, this type of labeling has been proven to work elsewhere and for other situations as well. So the front of the package is the most reliable. It's the most obvious. It attracts the attention, which is why there's so much branding information on the front of the package as well. So based on that concept, it's best practice to put that information on the front. It can be complementary with the nutrition facts panel, which has a lot more information on the back. Both go hand in hand, but both are absolutely necessary for the consumer.
Won't it though, Miss Nurse, crowd the front of the label even more and make it less attractive, less appealing to the average consumer?
Well, it may or it may not. The idea here is to provide health information. So we have to balance that issue of appeal with the issue of the consumer's right to that information. From a public health perspective, we're looking at high levels of non-communicable diseases. 78% of deaths in Jamaica are from non-communicable diseases. We're looking at our vulnerability even now to COVID-19 because of those underlying conditions. The ministry would have indicated, for example, that almost half of the deaths, persons who have died from COVID, have actually had underlying conditions. And so we look at high rates of obesity. We look at rising obesity rates in our children, which can have long-term effects on their educational attainment, their health in terms of development of NCDs at a later date. So when we're trying to balance that issue of appeal to the consumer, we have to remember that we have to consider the cost, the healthcare cost, the human cost, the productivity cost that we are now facing because of these NCDs. And we do need to provide the information in a way that is easy to understand and in a way that can, in the long term, address some of these unhealthy eating practices and NCDs.
Interesting. Ms. O'Connor, before the break, you had mentioned about an octagonal labeling. Something with eight sides or something like that?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But it's just how the information is represented. So the information high in is represented. The text is inserted in an octagon, and hence the reference to the octagonal design.
So what's so special about an octagonal label that would appeal to people? A triangle.
The issue so much is not really the octagon, but the simplicity of the message. So the fact that it doesn't have that much information, it just, once you pick up the label, you just see high in. So whether it be high in sugar, high in fat, high in salt. So it's the simplicity of the message.
What is the process or procedure involved in amending the laws in this regard?
Amending the standard,
just in terms of the mandatory nature that you are proposing.
Okay. The request or the need for the regulation to be mandatory, it can come from the ministers of government. So, for example, in this case, it's a health-related matter. I'm just giving an example here. It being a health-related matter, the Ministry of Health which is a ministry that has direct oversight for health-related matters, they can make that recommendation for the standard or the law to be made mandatory in light of them wanting or highlighting the need to decrease the incidences of NCDs. And they could make representation for, as Ms. Nurse made mention before, its impact on productivity, GDP, and all of that. As well as the consumers or the population, they have a right and they have a voice. They, in their remit, they can say to us, hey, we demand information, we demand to have this label on our products, and we are hereby requesting of the government to make this mandatory.
As far as you know, has that been happening?
Well, to be truthful, we do not have the consumers through Heart Foundation has been ramping up that advocacy here in Jamaica, but truthfully, we really don't have that strong consumer voice here. It is growing, but we don't have that strong consumer voice here. What we do have is the voice in government, where a minister has that right, has that autonomy, can say, hey, we have an issue here and we need a mandatory standard for this, or we need a regulation for this matter, to address this matter.
Yes. Miss Nurse?
Yes,
Nurse,
Dr.
here?
Tiffany.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm curious, you see, and as you perhaps would know, I am an advocate as well. I'm really, really happy for the advocacy from the Heart Foundation. But I'm just wondering, if you put all of that nutritional stuff on the front, what will be on the back or the side after that? What do you put on the package at the back? The back and the side of the package.
Okay, as the nutrition facts panel, which is a much larger table and gives information about all of the nutrients, the nutrients of concern, as well as the nutrients that we want to get more of, such as vitamins and minerals. That's right. I think the regulation, well, if Mr. O'Connor can correct me, would allow that to be on the side or the back. There are other parts of the information on the label that is allowable on the side and the back right now, such as the manufacturer's information. What needs to be on the front, according to the labeling standard, would be the name of the product. The brand can be on the front, the net content, and so having for the octagonal label in particular, the high-end label on the front would just be much simpler than the full nutrition facts panel. And you had asked Ms. O'Connor about what is so special about that particular label. And what I wanted to add to what she said is that research has compared different types of front of package labeling. There are many of them. Research has compared them, and that one has actually been shown to be stronger and to be more effective in allowing consumers to make their choice. And that research has been done recently in Jamaica to that effect, and has shown that Jamaican consumers are able to choose healthier products because the product.
As we wind down, with you, Ms. Nurse.
That of package labels, other information on the back, but the pertinent information should be on the front.
Right. I'm sorry. Yes. As we wind down, I wanted specifically just to narrow down on what do we look for then in closing, Ms. Nurse. My wife emphasized the whole thing of serving size. That's something we should look for, and what else specifically?
Okay, so when you're looking at the nutrition facts panel, you need to look at the servings per container as well. So as I mentioned, if the servings per container is more than one, that means there's more than one serving in the container, and you intend to consume let's call it a sugary beverage. You intend to consume the entire sugary drink. Whatever information as it relates to the sugar, the fat, the salt, everything must be multiplied by whatever the total servings per container is, right? And so, I mean, a lot of people don't actually know that. So if it says, for example, even the calorie information, you have to multiply. So if you have a servings per container 2, and you have calories 350. If you intend to consume the whole container, it's actually 300. So you need to be mindful that you're actually consuming that much. You need to be looking at the nutrients of concern, your salt or sodium, added fats, saturated fats and trans fats, which are unhealthy fats, as well as your added sugar. So those are the main nutrients of concern that you look for. Yes, you want to decrease the consumption of that.
Well, we have to leave it there. I want to thank you both for joining us. Ms. O'Connor and Ms. Nurse, have a productive day.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Very informative.
Take care. Be safe, everyone.
Thank you.
Sure. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye. For information, how to get copies of this
Sure,
program,
take care.
call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Miss Kathy Gale, and our guests. I'm Dylan Toussaint, handing you back to Love in the Morning with Siobhan Bless.
Need financial breathing space? Switch to a Sagicor Bank mortgage and get a 2-month payment holiday.